All right, everybody, welcome to Marketing Your Latino Startup. Let me introduce myself really quickly, and then I'll introduce our panelists, and then we'll get started. Miami time. No, sorry, American time. We're getting started right on time. My name is Michelle Villalobos. I am the founder of the Women's Success Summit, which is Miami's largest conference for entrepreneurial women. And I'm also a professional speaker and corporate trainer. And what I'm here to do today is moderate this amazing panel with some incredible panelists, very successful, and hopefully we can all take away some really valuable nuggets of information about marketing Latino startups. So first I'd like to introduce Christina Henley. She's the Director of Public Relations at Strayer University. Welcome, Christina. Claudia Joya from Burson Marsteller. She's the head of Burson Marsteller Latino Specialty and the Executive Vice President for Burson Marsteller Miami. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you.
Andres Corda is the co-founder and managing director of Avanti Way Realty, which is the first ever completely paperless real estate firm. He's also the creator of the Agentpreneur movement. Welcome, Andres. And then Antonio Altamirano is the founder and CEO at Interesante.com, which I signed up for yesterday, and is also the co-founder of Tangelo. So welcome, panelists. We're so excited to have you here today. So let's get started with a little get to know you question, right? I would like each of you to take about 1 minute to tell us how you got to where you are today. What happened to bring you to this panel today? Who are you? Where did you get your start? About a minute each. Let's start with you, Claudia.
Okay, I started in the advertising business.
And please get close to the microphones, because we're live streaming, so even the people in the room can hear you. The people at home might not be able to.
So I started in the advertising business many years ago, and I got some beautiful accounts. But sometimes those accounts got dry, so we needed to go for something else. There was no more budget for advertising, so I moved into the PR business. Then I went back to advertising and overall communications. I had my own firm, and I was looking for international clients. This was back in Argentina. I was like 25 years old then. So I reached out to one of the largest advertising companies, Young & Rubicon Y&R. And we ended up in a great partnership because they acquired my firm. I was able to get international clients, and I built my career at Burson since then, over like 18 years now. I think that part of the thing and things that we're going to discuss here had to do with entrepreneurship and entrepreneur spirit. And what got me here is that though I'm in charge of what's the Miami market, and there was not necessarily an ask to go and build the Latino portion of the business. I decided to jump into it because of that entrepreneur and that willing to do things. So what got me here was a will to grow and also a lot of work and some tears too.
Got it. So you basically started something before it was really a thing. That it was innovative. You were early and a first mover, an early adopter for this whole Hispanic market thing that we think of as new now, right?
Right.
Got it. Thank you, Claudia. All right, Christina, tell us your story.
Okay, so over the years I've worn many hats, all of them within marketing, PR, communications, but I actually started as a journalist. I worked for 2 newspapers down south in Alabama, and I realized very early on that I was very passionate about storytelling, and certainly journalism is one form of storytelling. But I realized that I wanted to explore sort of the other ways to do that, and so I kind of fell into internal communications within corporate America, and then eventually spent 10 years as a consultant, first with the American Institutes for Research, and then secondly with Ogilvy PR in DC, working on integrated marketing, PR, communications, social media campaigns for clients like PepsiCo, Kraft, Nordstrom's, and that was a very, very exciting time. And right now, as the head of PR for Strayer University, my trajectory is kind of evolved into, taking everything that I've learned as a journalist, as a PR consultant, and bringing it in-house and being focused in one industry for one company and seeing what we can do. But absolutely throughout, my passion has always remained storytelling. So that's what I'm here to share today.
Fabulous. Thank you. Now that you say that, to me, it seems like marketing and great marketing is really just great storytelling. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I have a coach that I work with. His name is Andy Enriquez, and he always says to me, he reminds me constantly, never make a point without telling a story, never tell a story without making a point. So it's like really great marketing, that's what it is. If you're telling great stories, your stuff's going to go viral. People are going to listen, right? So, all right, so let's hear from you, Andres. Tell us your story.
Sure. I was born and raised in Venezuela, although most likely none of you would ever guess that.
Why? I don't get it.
So but I came to study here after high school to DC. I did my college undergrad there, and then I came back to Miami. I was working actually in Venevision, which is in the film. We had a film division there and a video side, and I was developing that for them. But at the time, I was dealing with a lot of Latino buyers for film and Latino investors. But at the time I was investing in real estate here. It was back 2001, 2002, and I started doing my little investing. And I realized how dysfunctional the real estate industry was. Yet one of the biggest and largest industries out there, but completely dysfunctional in the way that the real estate agent was prepared to give you support in your transaction, the way that the parties did not communicate with each other, the way that there was so much paperwork but no technology at the time to help anybody through the process. So I realized there has to be a better way to do this. It can't be. And I met with a great business partner and the co-founder of my company today, who is a very good software developer at the time, and we said we have to start by developing something. He was actually creating something on his side because he had come from a huge trajectory of real estate in his family. So he wanted to create something, so we had a meeting of the minds and we identified a huge need of making the real estate process better for the consumer and much more efficient for the broker-agent relationship. So we started this little company at the time called the Avanti Way, which was all based on efficiency and bringing paperless environment to the real estate agent and helping them build as a business rather than just hang the license there. Mm-hmm. And it was 2006 when we launched because we went and did an MBA program in Boston in an incubator to actually develop the business. And when we got back, the real estate market crashed, and that's when we actually opened our doors. Wow. And for us, it was very interesting because it was the perfect time not to get spoiled. As an entrepreneur of the big budgets and the big money coming in, so we had to really do it with our nails and fingers. And from there, we've come a long way. We created the first ever completely paperless real estate company. We've built proprietary software. That's the foundation of the company. But we've built an ecosystem basically, and a whole framework and business model for real estate agents to work as what we call agentpreneurs rather than regular agents. So we provide them a whole set of support and foundation to their business just as an incubator might be, but for real estate businesses to really grow and be able to finally get to the consumer the type of real support that they needed and give great efficiencies in the industry. So we're now in the expansion phase. We've done luckily very well, and we're now expanding through a whole new set of franchise concept now to the rest of the United States.
Got it. So you identified, what you said was, you identified like the major dysfunction in your industry, and you went after that first and built a whole business around fixing that one major dysfunction, right? The disorganization and inefficiency and paper all over the place of the traditional real estate office. Fantastic. All right, Antonio, you're last but not least.
So literally what got me here this morning was a red eye from Silicon Valley. But before that, I've been in software development for about 14 years. So before I started Tangelo, which Tangelo is a software development company that serves clients like Intuit and other Silicon Valley startups, I did a lot of corporate work at Sun Microsystems, Accenture. I was in one of the early employees in a startup that was serving Yahoo as one of the top clients. which sold to AKQA. So that was sort of training to get started with Tangelo. So what we did is we did a very new model, and we started around the same time, like around 2006, 2007. And what we said is we are going to create a company with that is headquartered in the Silicon Valley, but with talent that comes from across South America. So we started a team in Argentina, and that team has grown from just a few people in Argentina to about 14 now. And the thesis basically was that we can do anything at the level that any other company could in the Silicon Valley, and we did. So one of the things that, it was really hard though, it was very, very hard because no one was jumping in the bandwagon of saying, okay, let's work remotely, yeah, we believe with you and stuff like that. Nothing like that happened. But as you were saying, stories are great, right? So what I remember the meeting with Intuit when they were asking me, why are your developers in Argentina? Why not here? Mm-hmm. And my answer was, well, in the Silicon Valley you have so much noise that great designers are becoming this sort of superstar divas, so that you can't really talk to, right? So, but when you go to Argentina, you had people there have a much better sense of design because they're much more grounded in reality, right? So that's what got us a large account, and that story has been selling really well across the years now. And one of the things that we did is we said that we were going to be able to launch our own products. So the latest product that we've launched is Interesante.com. All of you speak Spanish here, but in English is interesting.com. So and what we do is Interesante.com helps you discover the most interesting things in the world. It's based on your interests in location, and you can use it on your iPhone and on your iPad or on the web. So basically, if any of you are going to Mexico, the north of Mexico, and you're staying in one of the Grupo Posadas hotels, then you're going to see Interesante.com, and that's the page that is going to help you discover interesting things around you. So, and what's going to take me away is another red eye tonight. So, that's it.
All right, wonderful, great story. So, also you started with you're saying that the storytelling piece, not just for marketing, but for selling too. It's a lot easier instead of focusing on the sort of traditional selling propositions of the company. You just tell the story that people can relate to.
Yeah.
Like how all these software developers are becoming divas, right? And the client's nodding, and then you go, well, that's why we use developers in South America, and we save money, right? So brilliant. So storytelling is quickly becoming a theme here.
The good thing is that we didn't lower our rates. So that was
didn't? Oh, good. But you're making that money that's on your side, right?
Right.
More profits.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Fabulous. So, question. What has been your biggest challenge or darkest moment that you faced in your business? And how did you overcome it? And these questions are meant to, we can jump around, anybody can answer them. If nobody wants to answer them, we'll come up with another one. But the idea is just to create a conversation with the audience. Darkest moments.
If I may, I think that Gladwell has this phrase that says like innovation out of desperation. And at the beginning I shared like my experience in the advertising world, and I was born and raised in Argentina. So you have to be creative in order to survive and to be innovative. And so from one day to the other, there was a need to rethink the business altogether. But it was not only to rethink the business and approach other areas, because in the meantime, and part of the darkest moment is like, well, sometimes you need to fire people, you need to change offices, and the other element has also to do with how you approach clients, potential clients, in a different way. And so the darkest moment was perhaps from having an office with 15 people running $2 million in revenue, and then in 2 months have nothing and have to start all over again.
Claudia, would you please move towards the
yes,
microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
But all in all, let's say it was out of desperation. It was a dark moment, but I'm so happy I had it because I wouldn't have been here.
Claudia, tell us about that, what you did. Because we had a conversation, it was a really good story.
Right.
Tell us what you did.
So, well, I was around 23 years old, 24 years old. I didn't have like a lot of prospects and I was too young, so I could only just change some out of my outfit and look older, but that was not enough. I needed to find some trust, so I reached out to my friends. I reached out to my neighbors. I reached out to the neighbors of my neighbors, my future, all the people that had that some type of connection. And well, some was the importer of Mitsubishi and Kawasaki, so they gave me a chance with a Kawasaki account. And someone was the owner of a company that was late acquired by Frigidaire, and they gave me that chance. So it was like I ran the risk and it worked out well.
So you tapped into, you originally you had said that you were hesitant to tap into your close friends and family.
Yeah, because they're friends and family, and you don't want to mix things, but there was a need there, and there was a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. These are the people that are in your inner circle, they want to help.
Right.
So reaching out to your inner circle first and starting and growing from the inside out is a very smart strategy.
And for Latinos, I think it plays out even better because the relationship is not just only on the sort of more transactional style, but it's more on the relationship building, on that emotional and values that you have in common.
Okay, got it. And don't think I forgot your story about your real darkest moment. We're going to come back to that one. It's really good. All right, so who else has a darkest moment story to share where you've overcome and the lesson that you took away from it?
Sure, I can take it.
Come on, Andres, yeah.
Our stories are interesting because I can tell you that our darkest moment could be when we started. I mean, we started where the real estate market collapsed. So imagine you're building a product for 2.5 years. You're with your developers, and you know how that works. And you're really working 24 hours around the clock, traveling from Boston to Miami, doing all these things with basically no budget. That's why we were using offshore programming as well, so I can share a lot of what you're saying. But and then we get to the market, we're about to launch, we're developing this whole campaign to do so, and the market completely collapsed on us. So what do? I mean, every time we would go to anybody and say, what are you doing? No, I'm doing a real estate technology startup, everybody would say, you're crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, how could you? Nobody would ever want to talk to us anymore because we were in real estate and nobody wanted to know anything about real estate. But so it was a really dark moment for us. We had no cash flow to be able to operate and do what we wanted to do and build everything we wanted to build. But what we and the whole market was there. The whole perception of the market was that there will not be a real estate market in Miami, at least for a long time. Everything was collapsing, everybody was going through foreclosures, and who needs then really a good equipped real estate agent to assist them at that point? Everything was handled through banks. But at the same time, agents, who was our target market, were not being agents anymore. They were leaving the business. So imagine going into a market, and your dream is, to build this company, this movement, when nobody wants to be in that market, nobody wants to work for that market either. So I think that's a pretty dark moment, I would say, But what we did is, and what my big takeaway and what I can really share after we did what we did is, guys, as entrepreneurs, if you're passionate about what you're doing and you believe in your product and what you're trying to do, nobody will ever stop you. And markets can go up and down. You just gotta find a way to have a product that adds value and that you can communicate that value right. That's on the one side. So we never lost the passion. Every time we were speaking about our product or what we were doing in our service, we were saying it and speaking it in a way that was mind-blowing for everybody that was actually hearing us. So it was very electric. People would relate to it and would be like, wow, let me hear more about it. So that's how you get people addicted to what you want to do. So on how do you communicate the message in your marketing or whatever you do, I think the biggest thing is you gotta first understand your why. Why are you in business? Why are you doing this? Not start with what you're doing. Start with why you're doing it and why you believe in. And if you believe in that and you're able to communicate that very well, then people will start believing in you. And whoever believes in you, it's part of your movement. It doesn't matter if you're up, down, side, the other side, they'll stick with you because they really believe in what you believe. So when you're marketing a business, most businesses market it, this is what we do, this is how you should do it, this is what we do, this is how we develop it, and this is why you should buy our product. And it should be the other way around. You know, it's why we do things that really shape the world, and then how you do it, you can explain it, and then at the end, people, the what, it's just going to come by itself. So that's the biggest learning. And on the other side of it, it's just manage your resources correctly. A lot of people are entrepreneurs, but they always want to get, the fixed cost very fast. So be on a variable cost basis always, so you can scale down when you need to, and then you move up whenever you can. So if you can keep your businesses variable, it is one of the biggest learnings that I can share with you. And the final one, very quickly, going what you were saying, offshore, guys. There's a ton of great talent in the Latino world that can service the Latino market offshore. We have a call center in Latin America with 20 employees that are able to, our company now is what it is because of the offshore relationships that we were able to build that do programming, designing, back office, accounting, agent support, agent concierge. We've built that agent virtual office concierge person that does everything for an agent, and we charge for that service as well. And that's all offshore in Latin America with amazing talent and in a fraction of the cost. So they can handle the Latin American clients, because there's Philippines, there's a bunch of other places, but in Latin America you need talent that can handle the Latino side at a fraction of the cost as well, and it's very good talent there.
Fantastic, thank you.
I'm sorry, Michelle, to build on that, I just wanted to share. So I love what you're saying about making sure that you stay true to your passion. And what I would add to that too is that, I've seen so many businesses that will start and they sort of get bogged down and overwhelmed by the logistics of the operational side of things, the cost structure, the profit structure, all of those things. But I would encourage businesses to make it a daily habit and a daily practice to retain that creativity and that passion that you started with. And there's definitely an art and a science to doing that. So there is a brand new book that just came out. It's called A More Beautiful Question. It's by Warren Berger. I don't know if folks here have heard it. And it really is kind of a blueprint for the 5 questions that you should be asking yourself every single day. And I think too many times we get, kind of lost in the numbers and the Excel spreadsheets and the staffing and all of that, that if we truly, take a minute to stop, build in half an hour of your day to go through these kind of creative mental exercises, it will go a long way to making sure that not only your business is successful today, but that you're also continually looking toward the future and thinking, what else can I be doing? Who else can I be sharing with?
Fundamental, because you're right, we start off businesses with this idea and this creativity, and we're going to change the world, and then we get, into this business structure, and then we're like, okay, I got to just keep doing it, head down, and we forget that what, first of all, made us successful was this creativity and vision. And so if we lose sight of new creativity and vision, we don't stay current, we don't stay ahead of the game, right? Because these days things are moving fast, and in order to keep up, you have to stay ahead, really. So I love that, and I wrote down the book. It's called A More Beautiful Question by Warren Berger. Thank you for sharing that. All right, next question. Antonio, did you want to jump in on that one? Darkest moment,
sure.
biggest challenge?
Yeah, this is quick, but so basically what I learned, what I keep learning over and over is that you have to make sure to understand the person that you're working with. Whoever your partner is, you need to know that your values align, because if that doesn't happen, then you're gonna be in for a really rough ride. So that was one of the things that I learned the hard way. And the ability to get out of a situation like that is going to determine what opportunities you're going to get in the future again. So yeah, basically just stick to your values, know who
So
you're
you had a
doing
bad
business
partnership
with. Yeah.
that you had to get out of?
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit more about that story because I've done a lot of homework on partnerships in general, and that they tend to fail more than any other kind of business.
Right.
I'd love to hear a little bit about what you think went wrong and
Yeah.
how you
So I think
managed to
that,
get past
as you
it.
said at the very beginning, we were very excited. We were on the same page. We loved the business, right? But as we started developing it, we started drifting away in the core set of values. Not even about business, but about your personal values, how you run your life, and that started affecting a lot of the production that we were, the development of the product. So. So what I learned from that is that it is better to learn how to read those red flags at the very beginning. So basically having the values that you're never going to give up on. So once you have that, then you go and you start basically understanding this person, whoever you're going to be working with, those set of people that you're going to be working with. If that doesn't happen, then if there are red flags that are coming up all the time, as small as they might be, that is a big signal that you have to pay attention to. So what I've learned is that once you get in a partnership, that you have to be brutally honest, and you have to go all in, and you don't have to sugarcoat things, and because otherwise things will start dragging, and you will, this will extend, and it will take a big chunk of your life, basically.
Yeah, and it's not only building on that. It's not only about the values, but also about the vision. The story, for instance, of the founder and owner of Got Junk, I think it's a great, it's a great example of this. Like, he had a group of 10, 15 people that started with him when he was just collecting junk, and but he had a vision of moving the company into a different level, and he had to go through a very tough moment and sort of rebuild his team way from scratch all over again. And it was not about the values in that case, it was about the vision of the company, where he wanted to take the company.
Got it. Okay, so that was exactly what I wanted to hear. And now, since this is a panel about marketing, what would you say is the best marketing tool or resource you've come across or used? Anything that really moved the needle for any of your businesses in the marketing? Go ahead, Andres.
Sure. Before regarding your marketing, and now we're going to get into marketing very quickly, because I think it's a very good link between values and marketing. I think it doesn't matter the tool that you end up using. I'm going to give you share a good tool, but when you're doing marketing, the most important thing is to make sure that you understand the values of your business, because the values of your business won't change. What will change could be the strategy. You could evolve your campaign. We're actually completely rebranding now. The logo doesn't mean anything. A logo is nothing. Just so you know, some of the biggest logos in the world suck. Some of the most rebranded companies have horrible tag phrases, etc. Because a logo is just a box. It's the experiences that people are starting to have with your interactions, with your company, with your staff, with your products, with whatever you deliver, that start giving value to that logo. If not, a lot of entrepreneurs spend ages trying to design the perfect logo. There's no perfect logo. I could put a black box, and that's my logo, and it could be the most successful logo in the world, because it doesn't mean anything until people start interacting with that logo and your message, you know.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. So on that, I think that early product is your brand. So whatever you do with your product, that is what your brand is, right? It doesn't matter, as you said, whatever color scheme you use, as long as, especially in the digital world, especially in the app world, right? So when you deliver an experience that people like, then the name is secondary. Anything else is secondary, but the experience that you're delivering is the best thing that you can use to brand yourself.
It's all about the experience, and an experience is everything. It's not just when you go to the website. It's how the person that's the operator it picks up the phone, etc. And that all comes, and you cannot build an amazing experience if your values are in disconnect with that experience, because you'll always have a value brand conflict that you'll never be able to get out. So that's a very big point that we've learned over our
Values
entrepreneurial
first. I got it.
career. And I wanted to make the link with the value. So I'll just give you a quick, great product if you guys have not used it, but if you have, then I guess, sorry. But if you wanted one tip, videohive.net, and they have a ton of websites, Graphic River, and a bunch of other ones there. That allows you to really get, design work, or templates, not work. You have to have actually the person that knows how to work the video effects, I guess, which you can even get offshore, the After Effects, to do very powerful videos. Video marketing is huge, okay? So you have to, and they have pre-done templates in videohive.net, and then you can go to Getty Images or all those others, iStock Photo, and get some cool stuff to put into those. So if you have a good branding communication concept and you're able to write and deliver a message right, you can get a ton of templates in the design, even printed materials, flyers. They have like 10 different websites for each of the different things, even codes for doing some things. So you can, I'm telling you, you can buy an amazing After Effects video for $10.
So this is videohive.net?
Videohive.net. And a lot of the videos that you think cost $20,000 to make, that you see on websites, and they can show you how a product moves from one way to the other, or they tell you an experience in writing, and they're moving like that. VideoHive has a ton of products like that, and then there you'll see the sister companies for all the other design products too. I think it's one of the best things that we encountered when we started, Then you have to move on.
And both of you mentioned something very interesting. It's, okay, the value of the brand, it's a value promise, but you need to provide content to it. Of course, it's about the storytelling, and it's about the customer experience. So another element that not only startups, but big companies are very, very eager to master is social CRM. And it's a very efficient way to manage your customer relationship, your relationship with your customers, because it allows you to do two things at one moment and take opportunities of some of the negative things that may happen while you are interacting with your audience and with your customers. So social CRM, I would say, on top of all the traditional marketing tools that you may have, is one of the elements that will definitely help you craft your story and show other customers and other listeners out there understand who are you as a company, what's your value proposition, what are your values as a company as well. And it really makes a big difference. I think that, well, talking about just not only a startup, but Zappos is a company that did this very well. And that was one of the key to their success.
Agreed.
The other thing I would add is, and it seems so basic, but find 2 to 3 journalists who are in your space, in your industry, whether it's retail or manufacturing or whatever it might be that your product or service is going to be into, and read their work voraciously. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on Facebook. Know what they are thinking about, talking about every single day, and reach out to that reporter and let them know that you have something new to offer the world. I think this is something where startups have a real advantage over some larger companies these days. Reporters have heard from Strayer. Reporters have heard from the Fortune 50s, the Fortune 100s. But it really is the smaller startups that are just beginning today that are changing the world. And those are the stories that reporters need. That's the new content, the new stories that aren't being told. So if there's anything that I can share, it really is get to know the value that these reporters can bring to you. And they really see it as a relationship. I would say too, as you're reaching out to them, I think when we're in product development or we're in business, we're always so concerned about sort of selling ourselves and let me tell my story and here's what I have to share. don't think of it in those terms. Think of it in terms of, I am a resource in this particular area. I know how to make the world better based on whatever this product, service is, whatever it might be, and really just act as a resource to them. The story may not come a week from now, it may not come a month from now, but the second that there's an opportunity, they will absolutely include you in their network of folks that they're thinking about, and that's where you will land a really great story. And then you take that content, you give it to your customers, and you can do all sorts of things with that. But get to know 2 to 3 really great journalists in your space.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I just want to know that so I can tailor the message better. So who is in a large corporation here, and who's? Can you raise your hand if you're in a large company doing marketing? Good.
No one.
Startups. Okay, great. So then I'm going to talk a little bit more about startups. So so for instance, launching Interesante.com. So what we found was that when we were, especially because we were launching in the Latino market here in the US, Argentina, Mexico, and up to an extent in Chile, right? So what we found is that unfortunately the state of journalism in Latin America for technology is not very well developed. So they were not very eager to cover something new, unless someone else big covered it, and then basically everyone else followed. So we learned that, and within the period of about 3 months, we were covered by about 250 between blogs and big publications, like across the world, basically. But that didn't matter. Basically. So any of the traffic that we would have gotten otherwise, even without going into any press or anything like that, would have been probably double the amount that we got by being printed out, even like literally printed out in Nicaragua, front page, Interesante.com launching. That didn't move the needle at all. So nothing. So what helped us was to go into the source of them, where the users are, right? So we started going directly into hotels, directly into universities, directly to talking to the users, and not caring too much about what the journalism industry was saying, because they were not willing and they were not prepared to be critical enough. They were so if we would have given them like a story, a made-up story, they would have printed it. That it was to that level. So and then we found a couple of really good journalists that really dug deep, and they're like, okay, so this is your opportunity. These are your challenges. So tell me more. What are you doing to face, to fix those challenges? What is your next step in growth? Those kind of questions are very interesting. But so my experience is that yes, go after the journalists that are at the top tier, because everyone else will follow after that. So if you get one publication in a large blog or newspaper, then you're set. You don't need to do anything else. And then don't worry about it anymore, because they will come to you without a problem if your product is good enough. And then, go ahead.
No, I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted to get everyone's Twitter handles when you have a moment, so we can
Our
interact.
Twitter handles. Okay, we'll come down as soon as you're done
So
with your thought.
so that was on one side of things, and then on a little bit about branding for big corporations. So I was lucky enough to be able to launch the search and social media presence for Accenture. So one of the big problems that we had with that was that no one knew what Twitter was. So no one knew how to use this for marketing. So what we had to do is we had to translate that, and probably that's what you guys are dealing with right now. We have to translate that into leads, into actual leads that will come and bring business. Mm-hmm. Now, big brands are usually a lot into brand awareness and very sort of not very measurable type of metrics, right? Mm-hmm. But what we were able to do with search and with social media, we were able to measure the amount of leads that were coming in. And by doing that, we were able to beat even Tiger Woods when Tiger Woods was famous. And 152 more programs that were run at that company that first year. So there's a big thing that's a big opportunity on social media beyond the awareness campaigns that are the usual track for big corporations. Big corporations are big corporations, so they're slow to move. But I think that eventually they will get there.
Sorry.
Let's
no,
share our
I
Twitter
don't
handles really
necessarily-
quickly. Can you tell us your Twitter
Yeah.
handle, Claudia?
Oh yes, it's at Joya_Claudia.
And Joya is
G-O-I-A.
G-O-I-A. Joya.
Perhaps the perception still it's out there that big companies are not necessarily working more on brand awareness. The reality is that they are really doing more or less the same things that are doing startups, and they are either building teams or they already have teams in place, because everything related to data analytics, it's key for them to react and fast in order to protect their reputation. So regardless their structure, there is a need, because that will not translate into leads, whether for any big company. But what I wanted actually to address when you were discussing about the need or the value of having media coverage is that when you start your first or your second round of looking for more funds with private equity firms or angels, they look for that, because that's the way of validation of what you are doing. It's not only the promise that you've made. They're looking for this third party that will definitely validate and understand and has done like an objective analysis of what your work as a company, your offer, your product has done. So just to clarify, I understand that was not your point exactly. You didn't want to mention that. But we are approached, though we are a global firm, we are approached by many startups because what they need is, I am looking for that big piece of news because I need to raise money, and my angel investor is going to believe in me if I'm covered by Business Week or Wired or any other paper.
A great point, that PR is fabulous for credibility purposes. Personally, we've seen that we will come out in the newspaper and nobody will notice. But then, we've got it on our website and it speaks very well to the credibility piece. So can everybody please share that? My Twitter handle is Mivi, at M-I-V-I. We already got Claudia's, Christina, Andres, and Antonio. Please share your Twitter handle.
At Christina Henley, and Christina is Christina. Henley is Henley.
Okay, Andres.
In my side, I would love for you to interact, but with Avanti Way. So it's just Avanti Way, AVANTIWAY.
Great.
Mine is at Antonio.
Nice. You must have been a very early adopter.
He's a co-founder of Twitter.
Wow. I've never met an Antonio. That's incredible. Wow. So this is fantastic. Andres, I'm curious. You've mentioned offshore a few times. I would love to know some of are there some tools or resources for finding offshore people?
Yes.
Please share.
Yes, I think the biggest one is called odesk.com.
Odesk. Okay.
I think that's basically the biggest one. There's some others out there.
Any that specialize specifically in Latin America?
Well,
Tangelo.
yes.
Tangelo. All right. Good to know. I didn't know that either.
Exactly. It's true. And regarding the offshore, it is definitely something you have to babysit at the beginning. You have to make sure you find the right people, and finding the right people offshore takes time. I'm sure you've been through it as well. It takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of sharing your vision and your way of work, and the distance becomes a problem. So I think my biggest advice in terms of that is through Odesk and Tangelo and all those type of programs and setups, you're able to see what they're doing more or less. They do screenshots, etc., of what they do. The thing is that we were never successful. We would never been successful if we would have stayed with those systems, because you don't have a lot of control. and they're doing too many things at the same time. So it's good to give task basis things, but you can't build a business with an employee offshore through one of these
Got it.
programs. You have to find the right one there. It's a good recruiting tool for those type of positions, because we found some of the main key players through those systems, because they're out there trying to get freelance jobs. And then when you find somebody that shares your vision, that you are able to test in 1 or 2 products in that system, you can offer them a full-time position, and they'll leave. Then the next challenge becomes, if they're working from home, are they only working for you? Are they doing some other things? How do you control them? And that becomes the art of trying to work with offshore people. I mean, at the end, we had to fly out to Bolivia and some places there, and just build offices for these people, because we have such a large
Got it.
offshore environment already.
So
Fantastic.
that's a great point. I think that I agree with you with Odesk, and it's really good for small projects, but over time is not going to work. What we did is we have a structure through which, so we don't have offices at all. So we're totally virtual. So we are in Argentina, and we are in 3 cities in Argentina: Mar del Plata, Buenos Aires, and Cordoba. And we're in Mexico City, and then we're in Ecuador, and Quito, and we're in Menlo Park in Silicon Valley. So what we did is we go through a process. First, we have my two very good friends are in Argentina. They're running operations, they're running product, and the other one is running engineering. So they do the hiring, right? So, but we need specific people that can work from home, that are self-starters, and that are really beyond the curve in terms of innovation, right? So these are the people that are not, even if, and this has happened, even if Google or Facebook are trying to recruit them, they will not go away, because they are because what we offer is something that Google and Facebook will not be able to offer there, which is hard to believe, but you know, it happens. So we play up all the work from home, travel to Silicon Valley, work with innovative companies. Right now, for instance, one of the projects that we're working on is developing the software for a hardware bracelet that is a smart bracelet, basically. So that is the type of projects that we are dealing with right now, and that's why our engineers and designers get very excited. And one more thing that we do, about 3 to 4 times a year, we do something that is called the Tangelo Startup House. So we get a mansion in Buenos Aires with 8 to 12 rooms, and we get everyone there for about 1 to 2 weeks, and basically everyone lives there. And it's a big house, big enough that you can work in there, but you don't have to be seeing each other all the time. That brings the team together. And right now, there are people from Ecuador and across Argentina. They're right now doing one in Mar del Plata.
One quick thing regarding that is he mentioned he has 2 partners or somebody that's friends that run the show. If you want to do this successfully, you have to go and find local people in those places to run your show in those areas. That's the end goal. If you have local players that are doing the hiring, the firing, and and being able to channel your vision and make sure that the development is going up to date, you need to have that local presence with the leadership team there if you want to have an offshore.
Exactly. So offshore, like if you're working offshore, if you're working with people abroad, you should stop calling offshore because they don't
Got
like
it.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Understood. Because they're gonna feel like they're not part of the team.
Right. Exactly.
Understood. So what if you could do something differently? So if you knew then what you know now, what would you go back and tell yourself? What advice would you give in order to, and let's stay focused on the marketing conversation because that's what this panel is about. What would you do differently?
I would say something to go along with the whole storytelling thing is, and something that I'm learning to do more of, it's okay to open up to your partners or to the media or to various folks in your network on a personal level. I think so many times, and we've been talking about this, we kind of try to spoon feed people constantly. This is my mission, these are our values, this is what I'm selling. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. At the end of the day, we're all kind of in this world of networking and PR and marketing and business and operations. Opening yourself up to folks in a personal way and connecting with them on that human level will go a long way in the long run towards helping build your business. But in the short one, it's a really great way to get feedback from folks, learn other insights. So I would just say one of the things that I'm trying to do better is, connecting with people just on a personal level. It doesn't always have to be all business all the time.
You're speaking my language, because you know that I'm a big believer in the personal branding, because at the end of the day, people do business with people, not with a logo, as you said, Andres, not with a brand, not with a website. They connect with human beings. And as the face of a company, as a leader, as a visionary, the more you can be human and connect with other people, the more opportunities are going to come your way. Big believer.
And if I can add something in that point, when things that you do better and talking about people is who are the people that are working for you. This is the key. I mean, you're not the one-man show. You'll never be just a one-man show. People that work for you or work with you are who make things happen. So hire very slow, fire fast, but hire very slow and make sure that you hire somebody that can really, really deliver, and you don't have to babysit every single step of the way, even as entrepreneurs, because the biggest thing with entrepreneurs is that I don't have the cash to hire good people. And the reality is, and we've been able to do it, and we failed in that a couple of times. So what would have done better is we learned along the way, and then we did it right, is the people that you hire are the people that are gonna really bring those experiences to life in your brand.
Got it.
Whatever you do. So if you can't do it with people in-house and pay them a big salary, guess what? There's a lot of people that can be attached to you in different elements, and you don't have to have a PR specialist in your firm. You could hire somebody outside your firm that has a lot of experience in PR and can get smaller accounts and can give you great guidance on the PR side. On the marketing side, there's some great companies that do great product or what you're doing, and you can hire people in different elements that get attached to what you're doing, and you can make everybody feel as if you have a huge corporation, but you're just aligning yourself with the right valuable people that are going to get your brand and your concept to the next level, marketing wise, PR, which is the marketing topic that we're talking about, but software development, and even your management team. It's
and
very important.
what might
Got
be sort of counterintuitive when you're working with a startup and you've got so many things going on at the same time 24/7 is like stop to plan your marketing plan. So stop, do your marketing plan, and again, as you've said with the hiring of the people, like think slow at the very beginning and then move very fast. And if it's working, great, and if it's not working, try to move on and not to be stubborn on following one path and only one path. And if you start small, you need to think big, but you can start small. So the pain, if it doesn't work, if that idea doesn't work, it's simple, it's easy, let's say. But they need to plan, they need to go back to that plan without being bureaucrat, okay? That's key in order to ensure that you will be able to measure what you're doing at the end of the day, whether it's leads and also whether it's all the KPIs, key performance indexes that you identified at the very beginning. And there are other institutions, like for example, Endeavor Foundation and other sources that can help out. It's not only the professionals of big companies, but there are a lot of non-profit companies that can really help you out in developing your marketing plan and help you along the way when you grow.
Fantastic, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
just
that.
one last thought. What I would do differently or do better is to understand the market a lot better, and then then you go on the planning all of that. But understanding and validating your product within your market is key. Now that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful anyway, because you might have to be pivoting along the way, which we had to do. But making sure that you understand the market is is one of the things that I would do differently.
Because you didn't understand your market, or you didn't test it?
Because we didn't test enough. I think no, we had we got Interessante without any marketing or branding. We got our first 1,500 beta testers in 2 weeks.
Got
So
it.
it was pretty good. But now we're going through a pivot, and it's important to understand that if the market is pulling you that way, then you should probably go with market.
All right, everybody. Well, I really appreciate it. I'm just going to take a second to wrap everything up because I took notes, as I always do. Those who know me that I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I really got a lot out of this panel, so I thank you very much for sharing your ideas and your input and your insights with us. But definitely focusing on finding that dysfunction inside of a market and capitalizing on that dysfunction the way you did, Andres, and finding the innovation to overcome the dysfunction. It's a great way to start a business. Storytelling, whether marketing or sales, storytelling as the core marketing sort of philosophy. Find the story that's going to move the needle, that's going to get people talking about you, whether that's a journalist or a client or whatever. Values-based marketing, really identifying those values first and coming from there to start everything growing out from that. Tap into your personal network first, friends and family. They're the most eager to help you. They're right there with you. Definitely tap into them. Manage your costs. Keep them as variable as possible. Low fixed, high variable. Got it. Look offshore for some great talent with tools like Odesk. Passion trumps perfection. It seems like that passion will help you push through any negativity, any bad times. Stay creative. Look at PR for credibility purposes and for awareness purposes. Get personal. People want to do business with people. Think big and start small. I like that line. So sell it first, figure it out later, right? Like test the market, make sure there's a market for what you've got. And then ultimately, if people don't think you're just a little bit crazy, you're probably not dreaming big enough, right? So thank you so much. I appreciate your input and your insights.